Hey, I'm Steven. Today I'm going to show you guys the Boss RV-500 reverb pedal. Now this pedal's been out a while already, and there's plenty of good demos and reviews out there. And one thing I found a lot of people saying about the pedal is that you have to spend some time with it to get a good usable reverb sound. So my aim with this video is going to be to show you guys some sounds you can get after doing some tweaking and adjusting rather than sounds that might come on the factory presets right out of the box. So first part of this video, I'll just play through some custom patches I've made for each of the 11 reverb types, and then I'll show you guys some really cool features of the pedal that I think make it stand out, some things that are not so obvious about it. I also want to let you guys know I'm available for online guitar lessons via Skype, so if you want to learn more about music theory or scales or chords, maybe you want to work on your technique, I'm available to talk about that stuff, so I'll put my email address on the screen, and you can contact me if you're interested. So I'm playing my American Deluxe Stratocaster. I'm going straight into my interface from the RV-500. I am recording in stereo, and I've got my Bias Amp 2 plugin going behind me, and I'm just playing through a standard like Fender tube amp clean sound. So this is the clean sound. Okay, so the first reverb type is room. This is a medium room setting with a pretty flat EQ, and I've got a little bit of a high cut on there, so let's check that out. Okay, the next patch is a large hall type reverb. I've turned the effect level up quite a bit. I've added a little bit of modulation, and I've maxed out the density parameter. Okay, the next patch is a plate type reverb with a high cut, and I've turned the pre-delay up quite a bit. Okay, the next patch is a spring type reverb, and I've got a little bit of a slapback delay on there. All of that's coming from the RV-500, and I've got a little bit of a high cut on the spring reverb to take some of the harshness out of it, so let's check that out. Okay, the next patch is the Shimmer setting. I don't really use this one. I don't really like it, but I basically subdued the effect as much as possible on this patch, and I've rolled off a lot of the high frequencies. Just sounds kind of out of tune. Okay, the next patch is the fast decay type of reverb. On this one I've turned up the effect level quite a bit, and I've added the low damp parameter. Next reverb type is the early reflection, one of my favorites. This one I've increased the envelope, I've maxed the time parameter, I've changed the type, and I've added a low cut. This next type is the nonlinear reverse type reverb. On this one I've increased the time and the gate time parameter, and I've minimized the pre-delay. This next patch is the nonlinear gated reverb. On this one I've increased the time and the effect level and the pre-delay, and I've decreased the threshold, and I've added the RV-500's digital delay to this patch. This next patch is the SFX Lo-Fi. I've turned the Lo-Fi down, and I've turned down the distortion parameter, and I've increased the high damp parameter. Next patch is the SFX Slow Verb. On this one I've increased the time, I've added more lower harmonics than upper harmonics, I've increased the sensitivity, increased the rise time, and added some modulation. Next patch is the SFX Storm type, and I've increased the effect level, I've decreased the depth and the speed, and I've added a little bit of modulation and a high cut. Next reverb type is a dual type reverb. I've got a hall reverb going into a room reverb. I've added some modulation, effect level's up pretty high, and I've messed with the EQ a little bit. So. Let's check this one out with a little bit of overdrive. Next is the space echo setting. I've got it set to a pretty simple reverb. And I'm going to add in the echo which is like a tape echo. I've got it set to be one tape head, and I've got a little bit of modulation on the repeats, and this is like a dotted eighth setting. Alright, next is the SRV room type reverb. I've increased the attack time, the attack gain, and the density. I've boosted the mids and cut the high gain on this patch. Let's check it out with a tube screamer in front of it. Next patch is the SRV plate type. On this one, I've tried to get the reverb tails to sound kind of sparkly, and I've added a really short delay to kind of give it kind of a chorus effect. So now I'll mention some features about this pedal that I haven't seen mentioned a lot that I think really make it stand out. The first one is the ability to just add a digital delay to any reverb patch you have. As you may know, you can have two reverbs on at the same time. So that means you can have two delays running in series or parallel. So you could set up to have one delay working in an eighth note and the other one repeating dotted eighth notes. And you can get some really cool sounds similar to like the Strymon Dig pedal. And this is, built into your reverb pedal, so I think that's a great feature that's worth mentioning. So let's check out that patch I have set up. Okay, so here's just the first reverb. If I add in the second one, turn the first one off, both on. Feature number two worth mentioning is, aside from having the dedicated tap control switch on the pedal, which is the third switch right here, you can hook up any external foot switch that works with the Boss pedal, and you can use that to control a lot of different parameters. So the coolest thing about that to me is you can use an external foot switch to turn the delay on and off, as well as control the tap tempo, or you can do both if you have the right pedal. I've gone ahead and had a custom dual foot switch made by SaturnWorks pedals. And if you don't know about SaturnWorks, I'd highly recommend you check them out. They make very high quality foot switches, tap tempos, favorite switches, and custom pedals that are actually really affordable. They're really compact and really neat looking. So this is it right here, this one you've been looking at. So you can contact Brian at SaturnWorks and tell him what you need if you don't see it on the website. He was just really great at answering all my questions and making sure I got what I needed. And I'll put a link to SaturnWorks website in the description. So this foot switch I have here is a latching switch on one side with an LED. And I've got my patches set up so that I can use this side to turn the delay on and off on the RV-500. And the other switch is a non-latching switch with a soft touch switch. And I use that one to control the tap tempo. And so this pedal just connects to the control expression jack of the RV-500 with a single TRS stereo cable. And I can use both of these switches to control the delay on the RV-500. With it set up like this, I have the tap control switch on the actual unit freed up to either be the third reverb patch, or I can use it like a hold switch or whatever else I want. So let me show you guys how that works a little bit. Okay, so let's look at the space echo patch here. I've got it set up to when I turn it on, it's just reverb. And then when I turn on my left side of my SaturnWorks switch here, got my delay on, and then the right side is the tap tempo. So with this setup here, I've actually taken my delay pedal off my board just to save some space because I do have a small pedal board. And if you do a lot of stuff with delays, I'm not saying the RV-500 will like completely replace your delay pedal. But if you just use it for really simple things like I do, then this can absolutely replace your delay pedal. Okay, last thing I want to show you about this pedal is that you can tweak it and adjust it so much that you can actually make other effects with it besides reverb. So the RV-500 has what the manual refers to as an internal expression pedal. And so you can basically use that feature to set up a tremolo effect. So this patch is actually my own take on an idea I got from somebody posting on thegearpage.net that goes by Mr. Analog. So Mr. Analog, if you see this, thank you for the idea. Alright, so here's the tremolo patch.